Hello VC, welcome to my channel. Tony here, Tony's LPs Are Us. This little segment is a fun segment. Didn't really have to do much research about it, just have to think about it basically. I don't have to show any records, but I'm showing records behind me because it's going to illustrate what this segment is about. And what we're talking about here is a inspired video from Kenny's Audiophile Reviews. Kenny does some great jazz reviews if you haven't checked out his channel, but you probably have because his channel's huge. And also, his inspiration to me was from Dylan's Noble Records channel, which is a big channel as well. And they're both great guys, have great content. I've been watching Dylan a long time. I watched him before Kenny because I believe he was on the VC way before Kenny. But Kenny's channel is so inspirational to not only me, but to many people, because if you read the comments, he really gets down to it. He's very sincere, and his knowledge of jazz is aficionado level. But the question that he posed from the video from Dylan and his video is, when is enough enough? Will I ever stop collecting records? I've been collecting records myself, I would say for maybe 55 years. Maybe I was 12 or something when I first bought my first record. I think my first record I bought, it's hard to remember because Woolworth sold records back in the day, and I would probably buy records from Woolworth's department stores that are defunct. They would have a whole bin of records for 49 cents. I remember buying the Batman soundtrack and the Green Hornet with the trumpet player on it. So, doing the Bumblebee, the Flight of the Bumblebee song. So I go way back. But I think the first record I remember buying was the soundtrack to Bonnie and Clyde. That was the soundtrack because that movie was so inspirational as far as it gave you a gut reaction. It was so different from any other movie with the realism and the way it was edited and the clothing. It started a whole trend. So basically, I think that was the first record I bought, and then we got a problem. So the question is, and I have them written down here again, when is enough enough, and will I ever stop buying records? And I asked my family, and they'll give you the answers at the end, because I said to one of my children and my wife, do you think I'll ever stop buying records? And I'll fill you in on that answer. And, you probably know the answer already, but I'm going to talk about, will I ever stop buying records? And I don't see myself ever stop buying records. I haven't really bought a lot of new records lately. I do buy a lot, maybe for the average person, because I'll go online, I'll see something, I'll see a box set that I think is going to be limited as far as once it's gone, price goes up, I may buy that. But I basically buy, I try to buy collections from people selling them at estate sales, people selling them at yard sales. So for me, when is enough enough? That's a good question. But there are some factors, and Kenny touched on these factors, and space is one factor. Now, Kenny had indicated he's keeping his records combined into a certain space in his music room. Well, I haven't done that. I have records throughout my house. They're all on shelves, they're all neat, and I have records in bins, extra records that I bought maybe at yard sales, haven't cleaned them yet, haven't listened to them yet. So space, even though that's one of the main factors with fighting with the other half about do I have enough records or will I ever stop buying records, the space aspect hasn't yet got to me, because I've actually put records in bins, put them in another part of the basement. These may be soundtracks and plays and musicals and classical that I'm not going to really pull, but I really can't. I don't know what it is, but I'm a vinyl-holic. And my name is Tony's LPs Are Us. So that's basically it. Now, space, money, need, money is an issue again, and Kenny said the same thing. And now that's a factor that we all have to realize. We all have bills, insurance, electric, equipment upgrade. You may want to buy new equipment, which is very expensive now. And records aren't super expensive, but they're not inexpensive. That's why I normally would buy records from an estate sale, first edition, second editions, stuff to fill in my shelf. Like for instance, I have one of my listeners or viewers wrote me a question off the top of my head. I'm paraphrasing, but do you have a lot of records that you have multiple pressings of? And the answer is yes, because if I see a Sgt. Pepper out in the wild for what I think is a great price and it's in pretty good condition, I'll buy it. So I may have 7 or 8 Sgt. Peppers. Will I buy like a Bruce Springsteen record? Yeah, because I have maybe 6 or 7 Nebraskas, and a couple of them are promos, a couple of them are near mint, one of them's sealed, one of them's a record store day that I bought because I thought it may sound better, and never even got to open it, never even got to listen to it. So money's a factor, but like I said, I'll buy used records, and when you see a used record for $4 or $5 or $2 or $1, I'm not gonna leave it there. And if I don't have it, that's a bonus. If I do have it, I may save it as a Christmas present, give it to Big John, or give it to my son, or see what the dead waxes are. And that's another question. I may have 6 different pressings of Yes Relayer, but guess what? They're all the dead wax are all different. They're all different pressings. Couple of them may be the same. Same with Traffic. I have multiple Traffics. Some of them are pink rim, some of them are just regular Island, some of them are UK, like the Low Sparka High Heel Boy, Low Sparka High Heel Boys. I may have 6 or 7 pressings of that, but they're all different pressings. So in that regard, I will buy multiple copies. And if it's a good price, I'll buy the multiple copy, take a shot. If it's something I already have, maybe I'll give it away, or maybe I'll try to sell it down the road. So you have space, you have money, and then you have the desire. Do you really need that record? Now, lately, and this goes into my wife's answer on the far end of this video, I'll go into a collection that I'll see on Facebook Marketplace. I'll call the person up, and I've shown some of those records I've gotten. And I'll go through those records. Now, 5 years ago, I may have bought, say, 40 records. I may have said to him, what's the price for all of them? You know, he may want $1 each. What's the price for all of them? He may say $25. I would buy those. But now, because I'm running out of space and I have so much room that, like Kenny said, there's so much room that you need, and I'm not one to get rid of records. So I really have to be able to do that. But being a vinylholic and having a gene that's a collector gene, it's very difficult to get rid of the records. So last time I went to see this person's, and if you remember, it was the one where I bought some Elvis 78. So that was a good trip. But he had a lot of good records. I only bought 5 or 6 of his, domestic, classic rock pressings. I remember I bought a Gaucho, Steely Dan. I'm not going to leave that there for whatever he was charging. A Joe's Garage, Frank Zappa, which I didn't have. I think there was a Renaissance record in there that was a double live that looked really mint, or near mint. Nothing's mint if it's open. So I bought that. So my need has pivoted to, I don't need to buy everything. I could afford to leave stuff there. And my philosophy is this: leave it for the next person, the collector who doesn't have these records, for $2 or $3. And I ended up getting those 6 or 7 records for, I think, $2 each, which was a bargain. That Joe's Garage was near mint. That's a double record, Zappa. I think it's Joe's Garage 1 and 2. I'm not sure. Really a weird record. I didn't have it. Really bizarre, but it sounds great. Great recording. And the Gaucho was near mint. And I have Gaucho, of course, but near mint. So my point is that my desires have changed. I'm kind of trying to be more mature about it. If I see a collection, I may cherry pick it. If I'm allowed to cherry pick it, because there's a lot of folks that say you buy the whole box. And if you do buy the whole box, you'll get some gems in there. The rest you could donate. And I have donated some of my excess records that I'm not even going to discuss here. They could be Streisand, they could be Ray Conniff, they could be Mantovani, they could be Jerry Mathis, although Jerry Mathis records are great, I'm never going to listen to him. I'll listen to a couple of his records that I know are audiophile sounding, or his Christmas record. So, answer to the question is, I will never stop buying records. I have a collector gene for records. There was a period going back maybe 20 years where I stopped buying records for a long time. I stopped buying records, had young kids, was working. My stereo was just an average system. And then I got a call from my friend Ed. Ed, you're out there. Thank you, I think. And Ed had some equipment he was selling, some high-end equipment, a project table, a pro amp, and then my other friend Tony had some amps. And I got into a higher end realm, and I started buying records again like they were going out of style. And that was when records were kind of under the radar. People were getting rid of records. The vinyl bug was just coming back, but more people were getting rid of records than were accumulating and holding on and pricing them on eBay and things like that. So my answer is I will never stop buying records. Desire has shifted, it's pivoted, so I'm real selective. Space is a problem, but as you can see here, this is another part of my house, which I have a rock up here. This is rock blues from only A to H. This is just rock. And a lot of these send me duplicates. These are Doors. I have audiophile records mixed in with standard first pressings that I've had my whole life. And there's also bins underneath. These are the IKEA racks. So, one, I will never stop buying records. Two, when is enough enough? For a vinylholic, just like for an alcoholic, you can't have that one drink because you'll go back. It's a progressive vinyl alcoholism, or vinyl alcohol thing, or whatever I called it. The vinyl collecting gene is progressive. If you stop for 6 months and then you see a collection, it's like you never stop. That thing is always in you. It's maybe you have to go cold turkey and be locked in a maybe a CD warehouse where there's no vinyl and all you have is CDs. But CDs are also a problem. CDs are hard to store, and I don't also still buy CDs, which I don't talk about too much. So I will never stop buying records. One is enough for me. Never is enough, but I have pivoted to being more selective. I will no longer say to the guy, all right, what do you want for all of them? Because I know he'll give me a great price most of the time. So I'll just cherry pick them, maybe pay a little bit more money, but at least I know I'm getting something that I want, something that I need, something that I may listen to. Because you buy records in quantity, you don't even get to listen to them for years. I write down inside the record, I have a little form that I write down when I cleaned it and when I bought it. And I only clean records. I clean the outside right away of used records with a baby wipe that's non-alcoholic. But the record itself, I may not clean it until I play it. If it's a really collectible record, I'll clean it, put it in a new sleeve. But, that's all common sense, as you know. So when I asked my wife, do you think I'll ever stop buying records? She goes, no, and you should start. And then she added a caveat. She goes, you should start getting rid of what you have. You have too many records. Just the other day, I told her I was buying from Amazon, the 6-record box set from the Black Crowes with Jimmy Page, or Jimmy Page with the Black Crowes doing the songs of Led Zeppelin and their own songs from Live at the Greek. It was reissued 6-record box set, which I'm going to be doing a review on. I just started getting into that. She didn't want me to buy that, but I said, no, I have to buy this. I had that urge to buy it, to listen to it, and I want to review it for my channel. Then I asked my kids, and my kids said, no, you will never stop buying records. Because I asked them if they're on vacation in Greece or Italy or Paris or France, if they do go out on a trip or they're on a business trip, I'll say, stop at a record store and buy me an import, which buy me a French pressing of Animals, which I've done when I was in England. I bought imports that were not imports, they were domestic for that particular country, but I brought those home. So Wife said no, kids said no, I say no. So once again, I hope you enjoy this video. I just want to thank, oh, and this doesn't help, getting these in the mail from Music Direct or Classic Records or catalogs. These don't help because if you remember when we were young, well, I was young, I'm old, when we got that Sears catalog with all the toys and all the collectibles that were in there. We didn't know they were collectibles, but they became collectibles. That was like a treasure just to look through that. And that's what this is. Although the price tags are pretty high on some of these one steps and MoFis and things like that. So again, we reiterate, it's no all down the line. We'll never stop buying records. And is there ever enough is enough? I say enough is enough, but not for me. I will never say enough is enough. I'll probably have to start shifting records to another place, maybe try to do my own yard sale and get rid of some $2 records or $3 records that are common. But that's it. So keep rocking. I really appreciate it. And thanks to Kenny and Dylan for this inspiration. I hope you like this and check out their channels as a courtesy, but you don't need to. They don't need it. They have huge channels, much bigger than my little channel. They have a huge following. They're well respected. And Dylan comes up with some great topics, and so does Kenny. So thanks a lot, and keep rocking. And please like and subscribe to VC channels if you can, and like and subscribe to Tony's LPs Are Us if you can. That's Tony's LPs Are Us, just like Toys R Us. That's where we stole it from. So thanks a lot. Keep rocking. Really appreciate it. And see you later. Stay safe. Ciao.